This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, you know it, and so do I. It does not matter who the host is. What has always mattered is who the listeners are. Anyways, I hope everything is good and grand inside of your neck of the woods. Today is Thursday, January the 16th of 2025, day 16th of the year, and only 345 days left to go. We are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM and hanging out with our friends and colleagues over there.
Radio Big, streaming 24/7 at radiobig.fm.
Oh yes, hanging out with our friends at Biggest Radio Biggest. You get it, Radio Big, you know what I'm saying. So, a lot of stuff going on over the last 24 hours. We are probably going to do some different stuff today, just so you know ahead of time. So, I can give you what's on tap, what the plan is, but I also have some other plans on top of the plan of the plan of the plan. Got it? So if you're good, I'm good, and then we can move forward. So let's do this. Let's talk about some of the things that were trending in the overnight. By the way, I guess before I tell you that, I should tell you that our shows consist of safety in the news, but today will be slightly different. This kind of how it's going to go today. And then we're going to talk about what's going on inside of the world of music and entertainment in hour 2 and 3. But this morning, last night, there was this morning we're going to talk about some stuff. You're going to be able to call in by going through callinradio.com. That's callinradio.com. Once you get there, video, audio, and text messaging are some of the options that are available readily for you. And then from that particular point on, we will be able to do the stuff. Some people go, well, why don't you just go through social media? Well, we'll talk about that and why we don't normally use the social media aspect, because I don't pay attention to it in real time. So that's kind of an issue on me, not on you. So that's part of it. That's part of the gigum, if one may say it that way. So let's do this. Let's talk about what the hell was trending, because that's going to be important.
Here is what was trending. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so as I take a look at the trends of the end, a follow-up with a foul-mouthed Eagles fan who went viral this week. We'll talk about that as we get into the shit list. Also, did Ryan Reynolds create a character to mock Justin Baldoni? Find out more in Showbiz. Also, the Critics' Choice Awards gets postponed again, and the Oscars may be axed. axed. Yeah, not a joke. And then Prince Harry returns again to the UK to talk about what the hell was going on inside of the royals. So, we're going to do a slew of stuff today. I don't know if I have enough time to do it all, but we're going to figure this out. So we're going to drop into some things sooner rather than later. So let's go ahead and get into the news right now, because I think you're going to want to know about what the hell's going on there.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Ollie Barrett. Qatar, the US and Egypt say they'll work together to ensure Israel and Hamas fulfill their obligations for a ceasefire in Gaza. A deal was reached after 15 months of war and is due to come into effect on Sunday. The three-phase agreement involves the release of hostages by Hamas and Israeli forces withdrawing from populated areas of Gaza. Former UK Middle East Minister Alistair Burt says it's a moment for caution.
It's not the end of the matter. Ending the conflict in Gaza is not a peace deal for what has been going on between the Palestinians and the Israelis. There's much more to be done, but you take what you have. And for those who have been most closely involved, they will welcome the opportunity of relief. It's a victory for no one. It's been a catastrophe from October the 7th onwards. The reason for the reluctance in Israel is probably because there is more doubt in Israel about the deal than anywhere else.
US President Joe Biden warned an oligarchy is forming in America as he cautioned against the concentration of technology, power and wealth in his farewell speech to the nation. He also hailed his administration's accomplishments during the address from the Oval Office, as Kate Fisher reports from Washington.
He spent some of the speech trying to define his presidential legacy, speaking about some of his achievements like investment in infrastructure and fighting climate change. But also, in a departure from that, he spent most of his speech trying to defend US democracy and talk about the importance of it and the importance of protecting it. There were several warnings within this speech, one of which he spoke about a growing oligarchy, the concentration of very wealthy, many billionaires, in fact, that surround President-elect Donald Trump, warning of having that much power and wealth concentrated in just a few people.
South Korea's impeached President Yoon Suk-yeol is being questioned by investigators for a second day after his arrest on Wednesday. Rebecca Bunden reports.
South Korean media reports that impeached President Yoon refused to answer questions and will face a second day of questioning in relation to the criminal insurrection probe. This follows his short-lived imposition of martial law last month, which pushed the country into political turmoil, and after which lawmakers voted to impeach him. Authorities have 48 hours to question Yoon, after which they have to seek a warrant to detain him further. Separately, the Constitutional Court is looking at whether to uphold Yoon's impeachment and permanently remove him from office. Rebecca Bunden, Tokyo.
Volunteers say they think no more illegal miners are trapped underground at the site of a rescue in South Africa. At least 78 bodies and more than 200 survivors have been retrieved since Monday at the gold mine in Stilfontein. From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks, with more now on the ceasefire agreement struck by Israel and Hamas. Phase 1 of the agreement is designed to last 6 weeks and will include the release of more than 30 hostages held by Hamas in Gaza, the release of hundreds of Palestinian prisoners detained in Israel, and the arrival of hundreds of trucks carrying urgently needed humanitarian aid into Gaza. Alan Lee Green is the founder and co-director of Standing Together, a Jewish Arab grassroots movement campaigning for peace. He argues the agreement could have been struck months ago.
This is a moment to rejoice. This is a moment to be happy. It's an achievement because our government does not want this ceasefire agreement. It did everything they can to prevent it. Yesterday we heard the minister Ben-Gvir praising himself, saying that he prevented this deal again and again and again. So we are happy tonight, but we're still saying this is not the end of our struggle for a permanent ceasefire, for wholesome deal to bring back all the hostages, because we will not be silent, we will not stop until we will see everyone coming back to their homes, hostages, Palestinians, soldiers. It is a moment to say yes, we achieved something, but it's not enough.
He says it was pressure from President-elect Donald Trump that forced the Israeli government and Hamas to accept the deal. But whether it leads to a permanent ceasefire and new dispensation in Gaza remains an open question. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
To recap the top stories, Qatar, the US and Egypt say they'll work together to ensure Israel and Hamas fulfill obligations for a ceasefire. US President Biden's warned an oligarchy is forming in the US in a farewell speech to the nation. South Korea's impeached President Yoon Suk Yeol's being questioned by investigators for a second day, and volunteers say they think no more illegal miners are trapped underground at the site of a rescue in South Africa. That's the latest feature story news. Ollie Barrett reporting.
Bringing you information you never knew you cared about. Rated R Safety Show.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly, less than $2 a month, and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
You are listening to something magical. You're listening to the Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, here we go. 13 minutes past the top of the hour as we are hanging out. So like I said, a lot of stuff to talk about today, so let's get into it. The follow-up to the foul-mouthed Eagles fan Ryan Cardell has been fired from his job and has apologized for his gameplay taunts or game day taunts that were captured on video and swiftly went viral. In a statement to the New York Post, Cardwell said that it's in part what it began as a banter with two Packer fans sitting near the escalated to something more serious, and I said things that were unacceptable. In the heat of the moment, I chose unforgiving words to address one of the fans, Miss Allie Keller. He's specifically apologized to just about everyone, including his wife, family, and friends, my former employee, colleagues, Packer fans, Eagle fans, Philadelphia Eagles, the city of Philadelphia, and those who were offended. But wait, Caldwell's contrition doesn't come without caveats, though. He adds the video clip circulating online does not reflect the full context of what had transpired, and my actions were not without provocation. Keller and her fiance have spoken with local media outlets and did admit to a bit of a back and forth, but said that Caldwell's behavior got worse after they tried to defuse the tension. This is according to the New York Post and TMZ. So let's just kind of be clear. Don't go to a sporting game and act like an asshole. I think that's kind of simple. Just not that difficult to do. You're going to watch a sporting game. People are not going to agree with what you like. People are not going to agree. You don't have to like the same team. And listen, there's no point of the whole thing. It's not like it's your team. It is some team that plays. And at the end of the day, it has no importance to your life. Seriously. Anyways, a Colt 911.45 caliber or 44 caliber pistol that was owned by mobster Al Capone is now on display at the Mob Museum in Las Vegas as part of the new exhibit, The First Public Enemy. In addition to the gun, the short home movie from the 1929 is featured in the clip, and Capone stays behind the camera by two as well-known associates, Lucky Luciano and Frankie Costello, make an appearance. Capone's granddaughter, yes, Diane Capone Petty, donated the item to the museum. This is according to AP. So there you go. Also, Bad Bunny is the first Latin artist to have 100 careers Hot 100 hits, thanks to his latest studio album, Debería Tirar Más Fotos. The album, which launched at number 2 on the Billboard 200, had 17 tracks on the Billboard Hot 100, leading to Nueva Voy at 27 at on the Billboard. So there you go. Also, Kylie Jenner's ex rapper Travis Scott dropped $160,000 on a custom Apocalypse Omega Rex truck. Why does the Kylie Jenner portion play? I don't know. The limited edition Hemi Helicat V8 horsepower truck were created to doomsday ready. 717 horsepower, 40-inch tires, 22-inch rims, and a custom fit. No word whether or not the whip has room for 2 car seats for Scott and Jenner's 2 kids. Why in the hell is this even a news story? Maybe that's the other question there. Anyways, with the Supreme Court's decision on TikTok fate in limbo, the app's management has told the employees that they can continue to count on keeping their jobs. In a memo circulated to employees that obtained by the company promises that you'll have an employment, pay, and benefits are secure, and our offices will remain open even if the situation hasn't been resolved before January the 19th deadline. Worth noting, though, even if the app ceases operation in the United States, it still does function internationally. Despite the high demand, investors expressing interest in purchasing the app, the Chinese parent company ByteDance says that once the ban goes into effect, users will see a screen with information about the restrictions. Also worth noting, the text of the ban specifically only restricts new app downloads, but TikTok has publicly said that it will shut down off completely access. Yeah, so you'll have no access in the United States. And President Joe Biden, per the law, has the ability to extend the deadline for another 90 days, but must act before January the 19th. So I don't know. I look at this from a weird standpoint. So if you have something that you're trying to ban because you're saying that the Chinese Communist Party is having access to the data, and people are pissed off about it, that you're shutting down a platform because potentially there's about 220,000 people that's their source of income, and other people are just looking at it for the sake of looking at it. What's more important? National security or the 220,000 people? I'm just asking because I need to have a better understanding here. Because is something else going to rise up? Now, there has been some rumors circulating that Mr. Beast has some billionaire investors that are willing to buy the app. I've also heard that Kevin O'Leary has some people that are interested, so we'll see what happens there. Okay, take a listen to this. In the wake of the widespread soft on crime policies that swept the nation in the recent years, Walgreens notoriously put merchandise behind lock and key to prevent burglaries at high-risk areas. The company's CEO, Tim Wentworth, says that the policy ended up being a double-edged sword. When you lock things up, you don't sell as many of them. And we kind of proven that pretty consecutively, he said in an earnings call this week. While the measures prevent the theft from the stores, they also deter shoppers from bothering in the first place. Year over year, Walgreens saw quarterly losses to get 6 times worse, from $39 million to $245 million. At the end of 2024, the ominous sales figures come ahead of plans of closing hundreds of stores this year, according to CBS. You would have thought you would have removed that stuff. I mean, I'm just saying. Okay, so let's do one more real quick, and then we'll get into this. A United flight had to abort the takeoff this week when the landing gear hit a coyote on the runway. The plane bound for Arizona turned back for inspection and had all the passengers deplane for another aircraft. Local media points out that the airline did not provide any specific details about the coyote. Very luckily dead status, of course. The incident follows a bizarre scene from Monday when the police were called to the Chicago area at Aldi to put another, or was it the same coyote, out of the refrigeration section. So there you go. Let's do the numbers real quick. The Dow increased by 703 points to close at 43,221 on Wednesday, and the S&P increased by 107 points to close at 5,949. And the NASDAQ added 466 points to close at 19,511. West Texas Intermediate closed at $80 a barrel, and Brent crude was at $82 a barrel. The national average price of a gallon of gas was $3.08 on Wednesday, and Bitcoin climbed up on Wednesday. Just over 3%, flirting again with $100,000. Friday night's Mega Million drawing will be for a $113 million jackpot, a $49.2 million cash payout. So if you want to play the game, let's go ahead and have you do that. No doubt there. So there you go. Something to think about. Something to think about for sure when it's all set and done. So we're going to do something slightly different today because that is what we do. Because why keep it all, stagnant if we don't have to?
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so let's talk about this. We're going into main story, but it's not going to be my main story. What we are going to do is that last night, if you did not hear it, there was the farewell address. The farewell address by the President of the United States. He gave his final speech of what exactly was going on inside of the way that he's seeing the world and the way that his administration is leaving. So with that being said, this is what I would like to do today. I am going to play the full speech. So I know that some people will like it, some people will not. That's just kind of the way that it goes. But I kind of figure, next week we're going to be doing some different things too with the new president coming in. So let's talk real quick about all of that stuff. So if you're ready, I'm ready, and we're going to go ahead and do that speech right now. So sit back, relax, and take a listen to what the president had to say for his final address to the nation from the Oval Office. So let's go ahead and do that right now.
My fellow Americans, I'm speaking to you tonight from the Oval Office. Before I begin, let me speak to important news from earlier today. After 8 months of nonstop negotiation, by my administration, a ceasefire and a hostage deal has been reached by Israel and Hamas, the elements of which I laid out in great detail in May of this year. This plan was developed and negotiated by my team and will be largely implemented by the incoming administration. That's why I told my team to keep the incoming administration fully informed, because that's how it should be, working together as Americans. This will be my final address to you from the American people from the Oval Office, from this desk as president. And I've been thinking a lot about who we are and maybe more importantly, who we should be. Long ago in New York Harbor, an iron worker installed beam after beam, day after day. He was joined by steel workers, stonemasons, engineers. They built not just a single structure, but a beacon of freedom. The very idea of America was so big, we felt the entire world needed to see. The Statue of Liberty, a gift from France after our Civil War. Like the very idea of America, it was built not by one person, but by many people, from every background and from around the world. Like America, the Statue of Liberty is not standing still. Her foot literally steps forward atop a broken chain of human bondage She's on the march, and she literally moves. She was built to sway back and forth to withstand the fury of stormy weather, to stand the test of time because storms are always coming. She sways a few inches, but she never falls into the current below. An engineering marvel. The Statue of Liberty is also an enduring symbol of the soul of our nation. A soul shaped by forces that bring us together and by forces that pull us apart. And yet, through good times and tough times, we've withstood it all. A nation of pioneers and explorers, of dreamers and doers, of ancestors native to this land, of ancestors who came by force, a nation of immigrants who came to build a better life, a nation holding the torch of the most powerful idea ever in the history of the world, that all of us are created equal, that all of us deserve to be treated with dignity, justice, and fairness, that democracy must defend and be defined and be imposed, moved in every way possible. Our rights, our freedoms, our dreams. But we know the idea of America, our institution, our people, our values that uphold it are constantly being tested. Ongoing debates about power and the exercise of power, but whether we lead by the example of our power or the power of our example, whether we show the courage to stand up to the abuse of power or we yield to it. After 50 years at the center of all of this, I know that believing in the idea of America means respecting the institutions that govern a free society, the presidency, the Congress, the courts, a free and independent press, institutions that are rooted, they just might not reflect the timeless words, but they echo the words of the Declaration of Independence. We hold these truths to be self-evident. Rooted in the timeless words of the Constitution, we the people. Our system of separation of powers, checks and balances, it may not be perfect, but it's maintained our democracy for nearly 250 years, longer than any other nation in history that's ever tried such a bold experiment. In the past 4 years, our democracy has held strong. And every day I've kept my commitment to be president for all Americans through one of the toughest periods in our nation's history. I've had a great partner in Vice President Kamala Harris. It's been the honor of my life to see the resilience of essential workers getting us through a once-in-a-century pandemic, the heroism of service members and first responders keeping us safe, the determination of advocates standing up for our rights and our freedoms, instead of losing their jobs to an economic crisis that we inherited. Millions of Americans now have the dignity of work. Millions of entrepreneurs and companies creating new businesses and industries, hiring American workers, using American products. And together, we've launched a new era of American possibilities. One of the greatest modernizations of infrastructure in our entire history, from new roads, bridges, clean water, affordable high-speed internet for every American. We invented the semiconductor, smaller than the tip of my little finger, and now is bringing those chip factories and those jobs back to America where they belong, creating thousands of jobs. Finally, giving Medicare the power to negotiate lower prescription drug prices for millions of seniors. And finally, doing something to protect our children and our families by passing the most significant gun safety law in 30 years and bringing violent crime to a 50-year low, meeting our sacred obligation to over 1 million veterans so far who are exposed to toxic materials, and to their families, providing medical care and education benefits and more for their families. You know, it will take time to feel the full impact of all we've done together. But the seeds are planted, and they'll grow and they'll bloom for decades to come. At home, we've created nearly 17 million new jobs, more than any other single administration, single term. More people have health care than ever before. And overseas, we've strengthened NATO. Ukraine is still free. And we pulled ahead of our competition with China. And so much more. I'm so proud of how much we've accomplished together for the American people. And I wish the incoming administration success, because I want America to succeed. That's why I've held my duty to ensure a peaceful and orderly transition of power, to ensure we lead by the power of our example. I have no doubt that America is in a position to continue to succeed. That's why my farewell address tonight, I want to warn the country of some things that give me great concern. This is a dangerous and that's a dangerous concentration of power in the hands of a very few ultra-wealthy people. And the dangerous consequences if their abuse of power is left unchecked. Today, an oligarchy is taking shape in America of extreme wealth, power, and influence that literally threatens our entire democracy, our basic rights and freedoms, and a fair shot for everyone to get ahead. We see the consequences all across America, and we've seen it before. More than a century ago, but the American people stood up to the robber barons back then and busted the trusts. They didn't punish the wealthy. Just made the wealthy play by the rules everybody else had to. Workers want rights to earn their fair share. You know, they were dealt into the deal, and it helped put us on a path to building the largest middle class, the most prosperous century any nation in the world has ever seen. We've got to do that again. In the last 4 years, that is exactly what we've done. People should be able to make as much as they can, but play by the same rules, pay their fair share of taxes. So much is at stake. Right now, the existential threat of climate change has never been clearer. Just look across the country, from California to North Carolina. That's why I signed the most significant climate and clean energy law ever in the history of the world, and the rest of the world is trying to model it now. It's working, creating jobs and industries of the future. Now, we've proven we don't have to choose between protecting the environment and growing the economy. We're doing both. The powerful forces want to wield their unchecked influence to eliminate the steps we've taken to tackle the climate crisis, to serve their own interest for power and profit. We must not be bullied into sacrificing the future of our children and our grandchildren. We must keep pushing forward and push faster. There's no time to waste. It's also clear that American leadership in technology is an unparalleled source of innovation that can transform lives. We see the same dangers of the concentration of technology, power, and wealth. You know, his farewell address, President Eisenhower spoke of the dangers of the military-industrial complex. He warned us then about, and I quote, the potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power, end of quote. 6 decades later, I'm equally concerned about the potential rise of a tech-industrial complex that could pose real dangers for our country as well. Americans are being buried under an avalanche of misinformation and disinformation, enabling the abuse of power. The free press is crumbling. Editors are disappearing. Social media is giving up on fact-checking. The truth is smothered by lies told for power and for profit. We must hold the social platforms accountable to protect our children, our families, and our very democracy from the abuse of power. Meanwhile, artificial intelligence is the most consequential technology of our time, perhaps of all time. Nothing offers more profound possibilities and risks for our economy and our security, our society, for humanity. Artificial intelligence even has the potential to help us answer my call to end cancer as we know it. But unless safeguards are in place, AI could spawn new threats to our rights, our way of life, to our privacy, how we work, and how we protect our nation. We must make sure AI is safe and trustworthy and good for all humankind. In the age of AI, it's more important than ever that the people must govern. And as the land of liberty, America, not China, must lead the world in the development of AI. You know, in the years ahead, it'll help to be, it's going to be up to the president, the presidency, the Congress, the courts, the free press, and the American people to confront these powerful forces. We must reform the tax code, not by giving the biggest tax cuts to billionaires, but by making them begin to pay their fair share. We need to get dark money. That's that hidden funding behind too many campaigns contributions. We need to get it out of our politics. We need to enact an 18-year time limit, term limit, time and term, for the strongest ethics and the strongest ethics reforms for our Supreme Court. We need to ban members of Congress from trading stock while they're in the Congress. We need to amend the Constitution to make clear that no president is immune from crimes that he or she commits while in office. The president's power is not limited. It's not absolute, and it shouldn't be. And in a democracy, there's another danger to the concentration of power and wealth. It erodes a sense of unity and common purpose. It causes distrust and division. Participating in our democracy becomes exhausting and even disillusioning. And people don't feel like they have a fair shot. We have to stay engaged in the process. I know it's frustrating. A fair shot is what makes America, America. Everyone's entitled to a fair shot. Not a guarantee, but just a fair shot. An even playing field. Going as far as your hard work and talent can take you. We can never lose that essential truth, remain who we are. I've always believed, and I've told other world leaders, America can be defined by one word: possibilities. Only in America do we believe anything is possible. Like a kid with a stutter from modest beginnings in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and Claremont, Delaware, sitting behind this desk in the Oval Office as President of the United States. That's the magic of America. It's all around us. Upstairs in the residence of the White House, I've walked by a painting of the Statue of Liberty I don't know how many times. In the painting, there's several workers climbing on the outstretched arm of the statue that holds the torch. It reminds me every day I pass it of the story and soul of our nation and the power of the American people. There's a story of a veteran. This is a veteran, the son of an immigrant, whose job was to climb that torch and polish the amber panes so rays of light could reach out as far as possible. He was known as the keeper of the flame. He once said of the Statue of Liberty, quote, speaks a silent universal language, one of hope that anyone who seeks and speaks freedom can understand. Yes, we sway back and forth to withstand the fury of the storm, to stand the test of time. A constant struggle, a short distance between peril and possibility. But what I believe is the America of our dreams is always closer than we think. It's up to us to make our dreams come true. Let me close by stating my gratitude to so many people, to the members of my administration, as well as public service and first responders across the country and around the world. Thank you for stepping up to serve. To our service members and your families, it's been the highest honor of my life to lead you as Commander-in-Chief. And of course to Kamala and our incredible partner, the historic Vice President. She and Doug have become like family. And to me, family's everything. My deepest appreciation to our amazing First Lady who's with me in the Oval today. For our entire family. You're the love of my life and the lives of my love. My eternal thanks to you, the American people. After 50 years of public service, I give you my word. I still believe in the idea for which this nation stands. Nation where the strength of our institutions and the character of our people matter and must endure. Now it's your turn to stand guard. May you all be the keeper of the flame. May you keep the faith. I love America. You love it too. God bless you all. May God protect our troops. Thank you for this great honor.
Listen at your own risk. Rated R Safety Show.
Hey there, Jay Allen here with Safety FM, where we just don't talk about safety, we live it. And when it comes to safeguarding your future, there's no better partner than Acorns. This part of the show has been brought to you by Acorns and a powerful tool that makes saving and investing easier than ever. We all know that investing can feel overwhelming, especially with busy lives and no time to dive into the nitty-gritty of financial markets, but Acorns changes the game. With Acorns, you don't need to be a financial expert or have a hefty sum of money to get started. In fact, Acorns lets you begin with just spare change. All about those small steps, small investments today that can build into something much bigger over time. Acorns recommends that the expert build portfolio designed to fit financial goals. Then it does the heavy lifting for you by automatically investing your money. It's like having a financial advisor in your pocket working around the clock to help your money grow. So why wait? Head over to acorns.com/safetyfm or download the Acorns app and take that first step towards securing your future today. Remember, in the world of safety and investing, small actions today can lead to mighty outcomes tomorrow. Paid non-client endorsement. Compensation provides an incentive to positively promote Acorns. Investing involves risk. Acorns Advisors, LLC, and SEC registered investment advisors. View important disclosures at acorn.com/safetyfm. At Safety FM, we're all about making smart decisions on the job and in life. So take control of your financial future. This is Jay Allen reminding you to stay safe, stay smart, and invest in your tomorrow.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
If you're anything like me, you have certain tendencies to put things off, such as filing taxes, seeing the doctor, working on that home improvement project that you're supposed to be doing, but you just haven't gotten to it. And while most of the times it works out, the one thing in life that you really cannot afford to wait on is setting up term coverage life insurance. You've probably seen life insurance commercials on TV and thought, yeah, I'll look into it later. Well, the answer is no. This isn't something that you can wait for. Choose life insurance through Ladder today. Ladder is 100% digitals, no doctors, no needles, no paperwork. When you apply for $3 million in coverage or less, just answer a few questions about your health in an application. Ladder's customers rate them 4.8 out of 5 stars on Trustpilot, and they've made Forbes' Best Life Insurance in 2021's list. You just need a few minutes and a phone or a laptop to apply. Ladder's smart algorithm works in real time, so you'll find out if you're instantly approved. No hidden fees, cancel anytime, get full refund if you change your mind in the first 30 days. Ladder policies are issued by insurers with long proven histories of paying claims. They're rated A and A+ by AM Best. Finally, since life insurance costs more as you age, now is the time to cross it off your list. So go to ladder.com/safetyfm today to see if you're instantly approved. That's LADDER life.com/safetyfm, ladderlife.com/safetyfm.
Warning. Listening to other radio stations could cause testicle shrinkage.
I'm talking truth.
You thought that I lost it. Is that just what you wanted? But I'm back for the kill, my back to the fire. So take me to my limit.
minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out, doing our thing. This right here is Rattle My Cage by Saints of Valerie. Songs readily available on Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube Music if you want to come hang out and do the thing. No doubt about that. Might want to give this one a little streamer-eamer action because that seems like a good thing to do. Oh, yeah. Yeah, rattle my cage, take me to my limit, no doubt there, as we are hanging out here on the Rated R Safety Show. So I told you it was going to be different today. I wasn't joking. Now, I mean, I don't know. I just looked at it from the standpoint of, we did inauguration speeches. I'm sure we'll do that again next week as well. So why not do the farewell speech? It's just kind of the stuff that we do around here. Anyway, so let's talk real quick about some of the things that are going on. And if anything, I'm going to tell you about the most important thing that I will tell you in my lifetime. And that is about my friends at To Write Love on Her Arms. No matter what you're facing, you deserve to be connected to help. And the people at To Write Love on Her Arms want you to know that people have been where you are now and things can get better. Healing is possible. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to TWLOHA.com. That's TWLOHA.com and click on the section that says Find Help. Once you get there, there's all kinds of information related to addiction, depression, anxiety, eating disorders, self-injury, suicide, trauma, grief support, just to name a few. That's TWLOHA.com, To Write Love on Her Arms. So there you go. A lot of information right there, readily available for you. So just so you know exactly what is going on inside of that section of the multiverse. Let's continue talking real quick. According to a new report, just like the list of household chores that never goes away, the gender gap goes on and on. After these generations, women still generally take on more domestic tasks than men. Researchers at the University of Alberta studied 250 couples over the course of 25 years and found that they're referring to gendered pattern at a household in people's in the 20s, which continues well into their midlife. And if you have kids, the gap only widens. The data shows that women consistently did the majority of the cooking, kitchen cleaning, grocery shopping, house cleaning, laundry, and overall housework. A statistic in a Canada report from 2022 found that those who worked from home, women spent about 40 minutes more per day on unpaid housework than men. And when it comes to childcare duties, even with both parents working, mothers spent on average about 52 minutes more per day with their kids than the dads did. Experts say that although the gap persists, there are signs it is narrowing over time. In 2025, women are still out there running a marathon of laundry loads while men are lost in the kitchen trying to do the dishes and check the football scores on their boat at the same time. And sure, they point out that, but there is a snake in the garage, or is the dog is about to barf in the middle of the night, then whose problem is that? Just asking for a friend. I mean, I don't know. So there you go. A lot of stuff to think about, a lot of stuff to talk about. So there you go. Some things to think about. So with that being said, why don't we continue talking a little bit more about some of the stuff that is going on inside of the multiverse, because it seems important to do. So with that, let's bring in some John Smalls into our life and let him tell us about what the hell is going on with the Motivation Minute. Yes, because, that's what he does. He tells us about the Motivation Minute, so let's do that right now.
The Motivation Minute is courtesy of GenesisGoldIRA.com and JaceCaseMedical.com.
The Motivation Minute.
Today's quote was submitted by Kylie. Sheila Lario Macello said, "I think in terms of evolutions, not revolutions. Failure is not part of my vocabulary." I love that. I actually took a job in Nebraska at a heritage radio station. They launched in 1922. Now, I didn't work there that long ago, but it was over 20 years ago. In the job interview, the general manager told me that they're evolutionary, not revolutionary. He was the third general manager in almost 80 years of service to the community. His father served in that position before he did, and his grandfather way back before that. He said they didn't want to be cutting edge. They wanted to be the standard.
The Motivation Minute.
The Motivation Minute is courtesy of GenesisGoldIRA.com and JaceCaseMedical.com. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your motivational quotes can be submitted for an upcoming program at motivationminute.org.
Hello, I'm Richard Exley with your 1-minute devotion. The reason the Bible is filled with so many verses about divine provision is not to make us materialistic, but to assure us of the Father's unwavering concern. He has repeatedly promised to take care of us, so we don't need to concern ourselves about such things. We can focus our faith and our prayers on more important matters. Jesus tells us to consider how the wildflowers grow. They do not labor or spin, yet I tell you, not even Solomon in all of his splendor was dressed like one of these. If that is how God clothes the grass of the field, which is here today and tomorrow is thrown into the fire, how much more will he clothe you? Lord, help us to trust you for our daily needs. Amen. If these devotions are a blessing and an encouragement to you, you can subscribe at oneminutedevotion.com.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson expressed that there should probably be conditions attached to financial aid for California's wildfire recovery efforts.
My personal opinion is that there ought to be conditions on that aid. We'll see how the broader consensus shapes up, Johnson remarked. I haven't had an opportunity to discuss this with the members over the weekend, given how busy everyone has been, but it will undoubtedly be part of the conversation. His office provided no further details when pressed for clarification on what conditions might be proposed. Lawrence Keller reporting.
A series of suspected sabotage incidents targeting undersea cables in the Baltic Sea has heightened concerns about a volatile 2025 in NATO's northern regions.
In response, Allied leaders are pledging intensified surveillance and a firm stance against Russian and Chinese-affiliated vessels suspected of engaging in malicious activities. NATO will bolster its military presence in the Baltic Sea, NATO Chief Mark Rutte declared in December, following the latest case of alleged sabotage. He condemned any actions that threaten vital infrastructure as unacceptable. Benjamin Wright reporting.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has summoned state lawmakers for a special session aimed at implementing President-elect Donald Trump's proposed immigration policies.
Trump's incoming administration is preparing more than 100 executive orders to take immediate action on border security, deportations, and other key issues. The planned crackdown has been described as a shock and awe approach. While Trump and his team have committed to mass deportations, significant uncertainty remains regarding how these measures will be executed. Kevin Sanders reporting.
This is the latest news headlines.
The Academy has adjusted several key dates for the 2025 Oscars due to the catastrophic fires ravaging Los Angeles.
The announcement of Oscar nominations has been shifted from its original January 17th date to January 23rd at 5:30 a.m. Pacific Time, with the voting period for nominations extended by 3 days to January 17th. Additionally, the Oscars nominees luncheon, originally set for February 10th, has been canceled in light of the ongoing challenges posed by the fires. Jessica Oakley reporting.
President Joe Biden approved new student loan relief measures benefiting over 150,000 borrowers.
According to Biden, the relief will assist 85,000 borrowers who attended institutions accused of cheating and defrauding students, 61,000 borrowers with permanent disabilities, and 6,100 public service workers. The president emphasized that this latest round of relief raises the total number of student borrowers receiving aid under his administration to over 5 million. Kyle Norris reporting.
Blue Origin postponed the inaugural launch of its massive new rocket early Monday due to technical difficulties.
The 320-foot New Glenn rocket was set to launch just before dawn, carrying a prototype satellite from Florida's Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. However, during the final minutes of the countdown, launch controllers encountered an unspecified issue with the rocket and ran out of time to resolve it. Once the countdown was stopped, the team began the process of draining fuel from the rocket to ensure safety. Jim Kender reporting.
And that's the latest news headlines with Alan Edwards.
What do guys like besides pizza and morning sex?
Jay Allen in the morning.
It's so bizarre and unnatural.
It's all good. On radio
Oh, yes. Who doesn't like it being all unnatural and stuff? That's for sure. Anyways, let's talk about some things that happened back on this date. If we take a look in particular at 1991, the United Nations deadline for Iraq to remove invading forces from Kuwait comes and goes. Saddam Hussein had until midnight of January the 16th of 1991 to retreat from Kuwait. Just after midnight, President Bush authorized Operation Desert Storm, led by General Norman. Major fighting would end by March the 3rd when Iraqi general formally surrendered. That happened back on this date in 1991. If you're looking at some birthdays for today, Curran Walters turns 27, Katie Malone 38, Joe Flacco 40, Nikki Valenci 44, Lin-Manuel Miranda 45, Kate Moss, 51, Richard T. Jones, 53, Greg Page, 53, Maxine Jones, 63, Say turned 66, Debbie Allen, 75, and, oh yes, the creator and director of Halloween, the movie with Michael Myers, John Carpenter, he turned 77 today, and A.J. Foyt turns 90. So there you go. That's some birthdays for today. If you're looking at some days of the year to celebrate, National Nothing Day, International Hot and Spicy Food Day. Those are some good things to combine together. If you do not mind, that is for sure. Okay, so with that being said, let's talk some more. Do you need a rando? I got a rando for you. Let me give you a random joke. So let's go ahead and get into some of that stuff. It seems important. If you ask me, we place too much emphasis on the early bird's good luck and not enough on the early worm's bad luck. See what I'm saying there? See what I'm saying? Glass half full, glass half empty, depending on how the hell you look at it. Just saying, throwing that out there. Okay, if you need a phone starter for today, try this. What to you is the most pleasant sounding accent? What to you is the most pleasant sounding accent? Who said whatever Dua Lipa has? That works. I guess that works. I've been enjoying the Canadian one as of late too, but we'll leave that for a different story and a different conversation. Okay, so if you need a question for the water cooler, try this. 25 years ago, this was worth $1.6 million. Today, it's worth $7 million. What is it? A 30-second Super Bowl commercial. $7 million. Think about that for a moment. That gets a little pricey, if I may say so. Anyways, at the top of the hour, I will be going over to radiobig.fm for the next couple hours or so. If you want to come and hang out with me, I will be doing the things that we do on that side of the equation. So you're more than welcome to come out and hang out with me. No doubt about that. If you don't want to go over there and you want to stay on Safety FM, you can hang out with the likes of Sheldon Primus as he talks about the world of safety consulting. So there you go. That's going to sum up our time together. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for always being the best part of Safety FM and Radio Big, because without you, it makes no sense to do what we do around here. If I can leave you with a deep thought for today, I would love to leave you with this one. Gray skies are just clouds passing over. Keep that in mind. Anyways, I know who you are. You know who I am. Love ya, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.